If Darkseid came to you and said that you needed to help him save the entire universe, would you team up with him, even though he might control your mind? This is the Comicstorian channel, where we take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites so that I can read them dramatically back to you. And every Sunday here, we bring you another chapter of the Justice League Odyssey saga. Cyborg, Starfire, and Azrael were summoned into the Ghost Sector to help Darkseid and have been imbued with extra power thanks to Darkseid. They happened to come across Jessica Cruz, one of the Green Lanterns, who's running low on power, and now they've been sent on a mission to recover the relics that will give power to Darkseid and to them to save the universe. This takes place before Death Metal, but it does set up the events of Death Metal, so hence why we're covering it here. Now, let's get into Justice League Odyssey. It has been 2 weeks since the makeshift Justice League set out to collect the relics of the Ghost Sector for Darkseid. But what Darkseid doesn't know is that the heroes are planning to use those relics against him in an attempt to take control of Sepulchre, the panic room that will survive the coming multiversal collapse. Right now, the team is split. Jessica Cruz finds herself on an alien planet known as Magmatha with Azrael. Even with her nearly depleted Green Lantern ring, Jessica has found means to combat Brainiac's forces guarding the relics with a salvaged Tamaranian assault cannon. However, for Azrael, his power only grows as being the voice that binds, being an intimidating figure and instrument of justice and faith. The thing is, the power that Azrael is gaining is what is worrying Jessica Cruz. Azrael's commanding voice was given to him by Darkseid, and now he runs the risk of being susceptible to Darkseid's influence. But as the two close in on the relic, Jessica is pulled and thrown to the ground by one of the technologically infected aliens. But as Jessica reaches for her weapon, she begins to wonder if the other half of her team is having just as much of a hard time as she is. Over on Skeltalis, Starfire and Cyborg are in just as much trouble fighting off a group of Escatron in search of their relic. Their issue, though, is just as Darkseid said. Every time the Eschaton come back, they become stronger than before. So much so that Starfire is now having a hard time keeping up. As one of the Carrion Eaters grapples with Cyborg, it tells him that they have chosen their alliance unwisely. Cyborg asks, "Yeah, we're just gonna have to." But at that moment, the ground beneath Cyborg gives out, and he and the Eschaton plummet into the cavern below. He manages to catch himself in air with his thrusters, but the Eschaton land on a spike, skewering it. Starfire yells over the comms asking if he's alright, but just as Cyborg explains the situation, the Eschaton pulls itself off the spike, lunging at him. Meanwhile, on Magmatha, Jessica's ring is telling her that she only has 7% energy left. She could easily use some of it to free herself from the alien's grasp, but she must not burn out any more of the precious reserves that remain. As she struggles for the cannon, she notices some of the planet's gas flowers being drawn into the residual heat from the recently fired weapon. For this, she only needs a tiny amount of her ring's power. She uses the ring to grab hold of the cannon, pulling the trigger, igniting the gas flowers in a fiery blaze, burning off the tendril that is holding her. She jumps to her feet to grab the weapon and spins around, firing it once more, blasting the alien and destroying it for good. As she dusts herself off, Azrael walks over, stating that the remaining aliens have been destroyed. A nice trick to preserve her powers, though. She tells him that she needs to hold that power for later, when they betray Darkseid. They should just worry about getting the relic and getting the hell out of here. Azrael holds up the relic, telling her that he's already gotten it taken care of. As the two head back towards the ship, Jessica asks how long has it been since he's taken off that mask. Is he keeping his helmet on for a reason? Azrael tells her that he does not wish to remove his mask, and Jessica says that she is sorry. She shouldn't have... Wait, did he just use the voice on her? He asks if he did. He didn't mean to. He would never try controlling her. Please, he's so sorry. She tells him it's not cool. She needs him to be careful. If Darkseid is influencing him, then they have to know. Over at Skeletus, the Eschaton that was focusing on Cyborg gets ready to strike, but then it's obliterated before it could land a hit. Cyborg looks up to see Starfire, asking where did that level of power come from and is she okay? She tells him that she is well. The Eschaton have come back stronger, so she needed to draw more of her new power to stop them. The more she uses it, the easier it is to manage. She can govern and channel it now. Cyborg says yeah, and that's what scares him. The control. She's changing. She's not the Starfire that he knew, and it all feels natural to her. She blasts a hole into the wall, revealing the relic, stating, even still, it does not mean that she won't stand with him when they turn on Darkseid. She does not wish to speak any further of this. A short while later, Cyborg and Starfire boom tube over to Jessica and Azrael, and they add the relics to their now ever-growing stockpile. Jessica looks at them stating that they have 10 total. That's not too shabby. And Cyborg says that they have a lot of power here, maybe enough to take out a new god. Even though they're going to turn these over, these relics have been configured to only respond to his commands. While Starfire and Azrael examine them, Jessica whispers to Cyborg, asking if she could speak with him for a moment. The two leave, and Cyborg asks if it's about the new Starfire. He knows. She's changed, but still seems sound. She tells him that it's also Azrael. Darkseid may be influencing them both, but there's no sign of them becoming his puppets. Cyborg laughs. Well, that's reassuring. We should get everyone on the bridge and go over the game plan. The four get ready to discuss what's next, but before they could get in too deep, Cyborg's mother box pings, letting him know that there is a boom tube about to be opened. The group is then transported to a deserted rock, and Cyborg tells everyone to just follow his lead. Remember, they have 10 relics under his control. That should be enough to stop anything, even the high and mighty Lord of Apocalypse. Just then, there's a second boom tube from Darkseid's other box. He steps out with several dozen relics, stating, "Good, you have done your work. Now we can begin." After flying to the main hub of Sepulchre, Starfire whispers to Cyborg, asking when are they going to make their move. Cyborg tells her that they don't know enough yet, so they're gonna have to play it by ear. Darkseid says to follow him. They've retrieved 10 relics. Though it is not all of them, it will have to do. For now, this is just a cold rock, a structure built from excreted mineral ores. Its systems are dormant, and its fire pits await ignition. But an hour from now, this will be Sepulchre. This will be the salvation of universal life. So once the relics are calibrated, their activation will cause a subatomic cascade that will light Sepulchre's systems. 10.6 seconds after that, they will establish a hyper network with the remaining relics scattered throughout the Ghost Sector. The unified system will enclose the entire Ghost Sector in an impenetrable anti-baryonic force field, and this will protect all of the worlds and all life within. Azrael then speaks using the voice, stating that they need assurance that everything he is saying is true but Darkseid looks back at him. "Do not attempt to use your voice. I cannot be gulled by such tricks. Since Aeolon, I have been transparent. Will I benefit from this? Yes, I will. Will it restore me to the power I once had? Yes, more so. Because it is necessary. You need me. You need the dark side that I once was, a god, a cosmic force. Should you be afraid of what I will become? Again, I will not lie to you. Yes. Now please, give me a moment to concentrate to complete the relic calibration." As the four heroes leave, Jessica asks how they're going to take down Darkseid and seize control of, but Cyborg stops her, stating it might not be so easy. Darkseid has 50 relics compared to their 10. They are massively outgunned. Jessica asks, so? Darkseid is outnumbered. This is what we agreed on, Cyborg, unless Blackfire was right about you, right about all three of you. Cyborg, Azrael, and Starfire all burst out laughing, stating that they are a part of the Justice League. That's insane that they would have sided with Darkseid. Jessica says, sure, all right, then prove it. Cyborg goes on stating that he does have some reservations. Darkseid is packing 50 relics. That's a crippling power advantage. What happens if in the fight they end up damaging or even destroying some of the relics? Then there's one obvious problem. They don't know how to run Sepulchre. The sheer quantity of data generated by those relics, his mother box is still processing it all. He's barely scratched the surface. Maybe Darkseid's right. Ping. Maybe we do need a cosmic mind like his to master the quantum data. Starfire stops. Did you just say ping? Cyborg pauses, confused. No, it was my mother box. You have no idea the ambient data flow that is trying to mediate right now. I need to get close. Analyze the data content of the network that Darkseid's establishing. Wait for my word. If I can run it and feel confident about it, we move. As Cyborg heads back into the inner chambers, he watches Darkseid configuring the relics, asking, are you done? Darkseid tells him just a moment, and then Cyborg's mother box begins to ping again. Darkseid asks if he can perceive now the operation of Sepulchre. Yes? No, not really. Darkseid turns to him. But you want to, don't you? Then try. You have the ability. Comprehend the data field surrounding you. Darkseid steps back and Cyborg resumes his position, trying to process the information, stating 3 relics will achieve conduited unison and initiate the cascade. The cascade then sets up a quantum network linking all of the relics in the Ghost Sector, and that will generate the anti-baronic force field, which, no, he can't even grasp those power levels. Darkseid tells him, you can. Go on. Cyborg goes back to processing, stating that he can't. The ping math is too hard. Darkseid tells him it ought to be. Think quasi-particle condensation amplification. Cyborg continues to state that it will amplify the baseline power to 500 times 10 to the power of 51 ergs. That's the equivalent of 50 hypernova. Where does the ping, that kind of power, come from? No, there's no way I can go on. This is way beyond the ability of a human mind to conceive. And Darkseid then asks, why would you understand then? And Cyborg says, because his mother box is interpreting the data, parsed it for him. And Darkseid stops him. It did not. You understood it. Cyborg tells him that there is no way that he could have. It involves a data load beyond any human capacity to, and Darkseid stops him. Exactly. Your whole life since the accident, you feared you were losing your human identity, that Victor Stone was vanishing into the machine. Your fears are misplaced, misdirected. Cyborg asks, what do you ping? What do you mean? Ping, what is happening? Darkseid says that he knows the 10 relics that they obtained have been recoded so that they are under his control. And Cyborg stops him. You knew? Justice League, ping, we're rumbled, move! As everyone gets ready, Darkseid says that Victor Stone could not have recoded those 10 relics, not even after the relic upgrade on Apocrypha. It is a feat beyond human ability. Cyborg changes out his limbs to cannons, asking, are you trying to mess with my head? This ends here! As Darkseid is blasted into the ground, he gets up. Do not be futile! The fears that have haunted you your whole life were not those of a man afraid of being a machine. They were the fears of a machine that was forced to pretend it was human. Why do you think you were chosen? Victor Stone died on the operating table. Victor Stone is a ghost haunting a beautiful machine. There has never been anything human about you. It was an illusion that you cling to. You are a god, a new god. Embrace it. At that moment, Brainiac's skull ship crashes in, landing on top of Darkseid as Starfire and Azrael rush in. Jessica sits back up from the pilot's chair, asking if they got him. Is Darkseid down? And then something begins to rip through the roof, throwing Jessica out. As she cries out Cyborg, Cyborg hovers over her, his face being covered by nothing but his machine body as he states, ping, 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 ping. Starfire rushes over to help, asking what happened to Cyborg, and Jessica tells him that he's gone. Darkseid has done something, and that is not Cyborg anymore. He begins to swap out his limb cannon and focus on everyone, and Starfire yells that they have to save him. Darkseid crawls out of the wreckage, shouting, he cannot be saved. Your reasoning is wrong-headed. Cyborg is saved. He has fulfilled his destiny and taken his place as a new god. Starfire lashes out, focusing her new powers directly on Darkseid, shouting for him to turn Cyborg back. But Darkseid shields himself, stating, I have explained everything. The only subterfuge was on your part, your childish plot to assist me in building the Sepulchre, and then take it. Did you really think that I wouldn't know? Cyborg, activate the relics. Cyborg responds in pings, and as Azrael gets up to attack, Cyborg opens fire on him. Jessica runs over to shield Azrael, but while the three of them are busy, Starfire lunges at Darkseid once more. He stops her, telling her, enough! You will take your fire and your incandescent rage and unleash it where I intend it to be unleashed. As Starfire falls into the pits from before, her fire goes out for just a moment, and then it reignites with such a force that it turns on all of Sepulchre. With Jessica's ring rapidly draining, Azrael removes his mask, telling Rapture that he is needed. Strike in the name of God! Rapture and the Azraelite Crusaders start to rush off the warships, but Darkseid already knew that they were waiting. Azrael and his followers have an unshakable belief in God, a God that will deliver them. But they did not bother to consider who that God might be, and as the Crusaders rush in, they are struck by a force, converting them into a new form, para-angels. As Azrael too feels the effects of being converted as his skin is turned from frail flesh to hard gold plating. The rest of Sepulchre comes online, and Darkseid can feel it. His power is returning, not a little bit of it, all of it. He knew that the doom was inevitable, that the source wall would fall, that the new gods in Apocalypse would pass over unto dust. But he would not. He would retain control. He is eternal, defying death and even a cosmic death. Darkseid is. But as Cyborg and Azrael and Starfire take their place beside Darkseid, Jessica Cruz manages to get to her feet, telling him, like hell you are. As they get ready to attack, Darkseid tells them to stay. Do not assault her. Does the Green Lantern have something to say? She yells that she will not let him do this, and Darkseid asks, what? Save lives? Save all the millions of lives in the Ghost Sector? An odd statement for a member of the League to make. Jessica tells him that he only saved them to power and preserve his own life, and she will not let him do it. Darkseid tells her that humans are shallow and crude species. Their qualities, like all humans, are many and poor, except one: courage. Even in the face of all of this, she will not back down. The girl who was once too afraid to leave her house, looking Darkseid in the eye, telling him to stop, without the slightest means of enforcing that demand. Idiotic? Yes, but admirable. I wish, truly, that I had made you a part of the process, for you are only ever an uninvited guest. But I can still allow you a place. There's still time. Let me harness your phenomenal courage alongside these others: the Code, the Fire, and the Faith. They are the three principles of my domain: technology, power, and belief. But a new god of indomitable will would not be unwelcome. Just say the word. Jessica says that she has 2 words for him. Screw you! And with the last of her reserves, she charges forward, punching Darkseid, and with very little effort, he smacks her away. As she lays on the ground broken, her ring tells her that its power levels are at 0. She tries to get up, but Darkseid stomps on her, crushing the Green Lantern ring, telling her, "It's just as I thought. Limitless courage and absolutely nothing else." His eyes begin to glow and he fires a concentrated Omega Beam blast at Jessica, incinerating her, leaving hardly anything left. And that brings us to the death of all of your heroes. Cyborg, Starfire, and Azrael have been transformed. Jessica is thoroughly defeated. The Justice League of Space has been killed. I hope you guys enjoyed this, but don't forget, next Sunday we'll be continuing this storyline, so please consider hitting that subscription button, hitting that like button, and heading on over to Patreon to get early access to a lot of our projects. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time right here.